Yeah, so Joomla, where to begin? I mean, I found Joomla randomly. It was just, I didn't expect it to happen. Um, but, before we get into that, my name's Mike Demo, or Mike Demopoulos is uh, my full name. I go by Demo. Everyone in the Joomla community either knows me by Demo or the guy with the yellow glasses, which I'm not wearing yellow glasses today, which is very unusual for me. But what do I do? I'm an open source evangelist. I love open source software. I contribute in the Joomla and WordPress communities for a couple different companies out there. And open source is great. There's something about open source that no one really knows that I really like, that it brings people together in a way that I've never experienced before, and it's pretty exciting. But yeah, so how I found Joomla was I started out in PHP Nuke, is what I started developing in, way back in the day, which it's actually still an active project. I don't do with it, but PHP Nuke and .NET Nuke is kind of what I started on. And I've always been interested in tech. Always did web stuff, self-taught myself. I dropped out of college as a freshman, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to make a career in this community. So after .NET Nuke, I wanted something else. So I was inside of cPanel and Fantastico, which was the one-click installer of different software applications out there. And I was just clicking through the different CMSs, installing them all, seeing which one I liked. And I found this thing called Mambo. And I'm like, I just fell in love. It just worked. I started building sites with it, and it was awesome. However, I did that for about a year, and then I noticed the Mambo community wasn't very active. I wasn't in the Mambo community. I was just a site builder, integrator. And I started looking like, man, Mambo isn't really as active as I remember. So this was probably, a few months after the split happened, the fork, which I was not aware of at all. And I was like, okay, I need a new CMS. So then I went back to my friend Fantastico, and I looked again, and there was this new one they just added called Joomla. And it was just added to Fantastico, and I've never heard of it before, and I was already using Mambo, and I didn't know about the fork. And I installed it, and I remember thinking to myself, man, this looks a lot like Joomla, and not actually knowing what was going on at the time. Then I started building Joomla sites, and then soon thereafter, I found out about the fork and the community, but I still didn't really get that involved, active in the community. I've been building sites this whole time. Bought extensions, made a lot of different small business websites, made some applications using the Joomla CMS as a framework before the Joomla framework existed. And I just loved it. I fell in love with the software. And it's never clicked. I've never felt so merged with software in my life before that project. And that was the first time I actually looked at trying to contribute back to an open source project at that time. And remember, when I started Joomla, I was, not even in college at the time yet. And I was kind of self-teaching myself all of this. And using some of these other applications for e-commerce. I was using OS Commerce at the time. And I just fell in love, and I started building more and more Joomla sites. And I heard about this thing called Joomla Days. And I went to my first Joomla Day Chicago. It was at the Microsoft Experience Center in downtown Chicago, and I met all these people. I talked online, and it was just really cool to be able to, find people that actually were excited about software. And I went there, and I wanted to get involved. And I tried. I was like, hey, how do I volunteer? And I was kind of turned away. The community back then didn't have a mechanism to get people to volunteer if you were an outsider. It was really hard to break in.